Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. Great companies that are supporting the program to allowing you to hear the program each week on your radio station. You can find all those at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com underneath the Season 9 tab at the top of the page and the Money tab at the top of the page. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Brett Pike is a father, children's book author, entrepreneur, and small business owner, and is passionate about homeschooling. He's written a number of books, including his most recent one called Benny Starts a Business. Welcome to the program, Brett.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on the program. Let's start with this. You're writing children's books. What inspired you to write children's books? Where was the aha moment and said that you felt that this was your path in life?
Yeah, well, sometime around 2015, I started to go through an awakening where I realized a lot of the things that I learned coming up through school were not exactly accurate. And I had a background in history, I had a degree in history education, and I go through this awakening and I start to realize that a lot of the history I was taught, not just in high school, but all through college, was not exactly accurate. And you start to learn about certain events in American history that were never even brought up. And I wanted to make sure that my son, 2018, I had my first son, and he's about 1 year old at the time now. So 2019, I start writing this book, and I wanted to make sure that he had entertainment that would teach him the things that I wasn't taught so that he wouldn't have to figure it out as an adult. And that really led to my first book, which is Good Bears Always Tell the Truth, and ultimately led to the entire Cubs to Bears series.
And the wonderful thing about the internet can be a horrible thing or a wonderful blessing. We learn things in a way that we kind of question what was all of the stuff that we were taught. What was the main purpose of that specific agenda?
Yeah, well, there's the internet, and then the most valuable resource, and I would stress this to any parent, I would stress this to anyone who wants to give their children a great education, is we have more access to books today than anybody at any time in human history. And you could interact with the greatest minds in human history. You don't even have to read the books because so many of them have been put into audio form where you could have the books read to you. And by just going back and reading autobiographies of historical figures, you could get a really good sense of not only who they were, but what was important to them, what they wanted to leave behind, what they wanted the world to know about their time here on Earth. And every one of us has the ability to do that. I mean, right now, you could sit your kid down and they could interact with Ben Franklin, and that's a really amazing concept.
Definitely. So kind of segueing into that, how did you get into homeschooling? Were you homeschooled yourself? It sounds like you weren't. So is this something then, as you have decided to do as an adult? So why the homeschooling?
Well, that kind of got into my awakening, and I went to school to be a teacher, and I got into that system, and pretty amazing once you get into the school system. Like, I was at an inner city school in Queens, New York, and I remember it was my first day, and I get up in front of the class, 9th grade global, just met these students, said, okay, I'm going to do a simple lesson. So I pull out a map of the world, and I said, who could point to Africa? And no one raised their hand. And these are black faces. This is inner city of New York and Queens. I said, who could point to Africa on a map? And at first I thought, all right, they're not interested. And then I realized after a few seconds, like, oh my God, no one in the class knows. There's 30 students in here, and they're in 9th grade, and no one could point to Africa on a map. And I realized something was really wrong with the system, and I had a lot of moments like that. So I knew then that I would never send my children, when I had them, to the public school system. And I went through my awakening, so I started to research, well, what's the problem with the school system? And I started to come across really great minds like Dorothy Sayers and John Taylor Gatto, and I started to realize what was wrong with the school system. And with my background and my expertise, I thought, you know what? I'm going to start showing people how they should educate their children. And I started doing consultations one-on-one, how I would educate your child if they were mine. And there was so much demand there. I was pretty shocking. I kind of pinched myself. And one thing just led to another where, eventually you go from, all right, well, I can only meet with so many people in a day. But what I could do is I could create an online community group, and then I could coach everyone all at once. And, one thing leads to another. And before you know it, now we have a curriculum we've built out. We have tens of thousands of people have been educated by Classical Learner, and it's really pretty amazing, the journey.
Well, tell us about your books. From the books that you've written, to me, it's a moral basis and an educational basis and an entertaining basis all tied into one.
Yeah, so the books are living fiction, living history. So they're fictional, but they're true. So, for example, we have Operation Mockingbird and the Church Committee. Quick background on the history. In the 1970s, there was a congressional hearings, the Church Committee, and they looked into the activities of the CIA, the FBI, what people call the deep state, and they found a lot of corruption. And part of that corruption was the CIA had been spending billions of dollars, adjusted for inflation, bribing the mainstream media to report fake news, the congressionally documented history of fake news. Now, one of the things that I never learned about in high school, that I never learned about in college, was about this congressionally documented history of America has a big problem with fake news. So one of the books I wrote is called Operation Mockingbird and the Church Committee, and it follows the story of Red Rooster, and he gets into the news business, and, every morning on the news, they spread the news with daily cockadoodle-doos, right? So Red Rooster gets into the news business, and he's told the Bears are really bad. All the other roosters are saying the Bears are bad. Charisma Cat, who's our arch villain, the Bears are bad. And he starts following the Bears around because he's going to get to the bottom of it. And he finds out that the Bears were actually the good guys. And that, he goes through a whole transformation. He follows the evidence board. And the kids kind of go through that journey with him. So, like, for example, early in the book, the news rooster reports of a bear stealing a bike. And later in the book, you can see that same moment in time, but rather than being up close to the bear's face, you could see the whole picture. And when you see the whole picture, you see, oh, wait a second, he's not stealing a bike. That's just what they made it look like with that close-up picture. And it's teaching children, one, about the history, and two, it's familiarizing them with the types of manipulation they're going to come across as they get older, but in a child-friendly way that's just, oh, it's fun, I'm reading a book.
And then you've also got a book about You Are What You Eat, Cubs to Bears. Share us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that's a two-part series. So you have You Are What You Eat, which really, right, that goes back to Greece. That goes back thousands of years, right? Let food be thy medicine. And it goes from you plant the seeds, and the seeds become sprouts, and it goes over the process of photosynthesis, right? The animals eat the plants, and they get the nutrients, and then we eat the animals, and we get the nutrients, and you are what you eat, again, in a child-friendly way where they could see the entire process of how food is made, where it comes from, where energy comes from, where nutrients come from. And that's book one. It's just the foundations of that. Educational, right to the point. And then we have book two in that series, which is You Are What You Eat, part two, the GMO square down. And that's the introduction of the science rat. And it goes over the process of what GMOs are, the chemicals that are being sprayed in our food, and how when the chemicals are sprayed in the food, the effects they have on the bugs, on the environment, on the biodiversity. And then, in turn, what happens when those chemicals that are on the food get into our body. And it just plays right off of the first book of You Are What You Eat. And these are fundamental lessons that our children should know. What food is, where food comes from, what good food is, what these industrial products are and what they do to the food, what they do to the biodiversity. And then in turn, that biodiversity lives inside our own biomes, right, in our system. So we want to make sure that we're putting things into our system that strengthens us, not things that could potentially disrupt our systems and kill our microbiomes.
Definitely very, very interesting and a good way for children to learn. So if somebody wants to get into homeschooling, what is something that they should consider before doing so? I know I have friends who
There's kind of a movement.
Yeah, it's kind of a movement. I have friends who homeschool. I know that they talk about these different programs and whatnot. What's something that people might want to consider before they decide to, jump and do the homeschooling versus the public schooling or whatever?
Yeah, homeschooling is the fastest growing grassroots freedom movement in modern American history. It's amazing. There's 3.7 million homeschoolers in America. That's almost 7% of the schooling population is being homeschooled, and people are pulling out of public schools in absolute droves. And it's so funny because you always hear people who aren't familiar with homeschooling say, oh, but what about the socialization? Well, I'd be much more concerned about the socialization going on in public schools right now. I mean, it's an absolute disaster. They're teaching children they could be cats, and we all know what's going on in the public school system where homeschool students, it's not really at home where you homeschool. It's out in the world, and there's co-ops everywhere. My children attend a co-op twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, and they're there pretty much the whole day on Tuesdays and Thursdays with 100 other kids their age. They're in jiu-jitsu, they're playing baseball, they're doing sports. So homeschool kids are very socialized. So what you want to do is when you decide you're going to homeschool, you want to familiarize yourself with the different methodologies of educating a child, because the only methodology we're familiar with is that the teacher's in front of the class and the student has a textbook. They have to memorize what's in the textbook, they have to memorize what the teacher says, and they have to repeat that back. But the truth is, that's not even close to being the best way of learning. And there are all these methodologies. There's unschooling. You could read a book, Free to Play by Peter Gray, really good book. There is Montessori, which you should read the books by Maria Montessori, an absolutely amazing mind, which is this concept that you could teach children with these living, amazing fictional stories, kind of like Cubs to Bears, and that you can use chores and real experience, real life experience to really help them learn. You have Charlotte Mason. Then you have Montessori method, which everyone is familiar with, which is learn through play. And then you have unschooling, which is, in my opinion, the most powerful form of education. And unschooling is the idea that you follow the interest of your child and use that interest to teach them the things you want them to learn. So, for example, I have a 13-year-old student who was really interested in dogs. So what she did was she started a dog walking business. She's 13 years old. So she's walking these dogs, and she gets enough clients where she's doing really well, and she decides she doesn't want to walk the dogs anymore because now she's interested in her business. So she winds up hiring, and this is crazy, and I laughed when I asked her because I was like, how many employees do you have now? 13-year-old girl, she winds up hiring 10 different children from around the community, her friends, to walk these dogs, and now she's running a full business that started with just her interest, where she has 10 employees walking dogs. She's dealing with the marketing, she's dealing with the accounting, she's dealing with the managerial side of the business, and it's her objective. She's going to incorporate, she has one corporation. She's going to file a secondary incorporation, and she is planning on, 13 years old, of buying her first rental property this year because now she's into real estate. And this isn't the exception. This is the rule. Like, I teach a weekly course in entrepreneurship, and all of our students are doing cool things like this. I have a 15-year-old girl who's published 3 books, and I actually just hired her, which is hilarious, and I paid her to put together a course on publishing. So she just put together a course for us on book publishing to show her classmates how they too could become published authors. And this is just kind of par for the course with homeschooling. It's so radically different from what you see in public school. And once you see the difference, you almost have to pinch yourself and you say, wow, I can't believe I ever thought about not doing this. It's such a slam dunk with how much more capable the children are just because their environment, how they're educated, and the freedom their parents give them to let them be who they are.
Absolutely. If you can dream it, it can happen. You're the only one standing in the way of not accomplishing something. We greatly appreciate the time you've given us, Brett, and the education. How can people find out more about you, your homeschooling program, and where can we get your books at?
Yeah, so all my stuff can be found at www.classicallearner.com. You go to classicallearner.com, and you could read all about the different programs that we offer. But really simple. We have a basic subscription model, and our members get access to, we just give them everything. So we run live classes 5 days a week. We have all of these different pre-recorded courses on the Bill of Rights, entrepreneurship, marketing, the U.S. Constitution and real civics. We have all of these amazing unit studies on gardening and carpentry and just pretty much anything you could think of, and it's right there for our members. So classicallearner.com, our books are at that. So if you go to classicallearner.com, click on books, you'll see the Cubs to Bears book series, our newest series that I'm the author of, which is Benny Starts a Business, which I'm so excited about. So classicallearner.com. I'm Classical Learner on social media, so Instagram, X, YouTube. You can find me wherever. Classical Learner. Cubs to Bears books. I usually have those handles. And if you have any questions, when you go to classicallearner.com, hit email us, and that will go directly to Paige, who is our director, and she will help you with anything related to homeschooling. Doesn't have to be related to our company. Say, Paige, I hear that you're the best, and you can get me started with, how do I let the school district know I'm going to homeschool? All of that stuff. Paige will get you set up and answer any questions you have, and hopefully be a good resource for you.
Well, absolutely, Brett. Thank you so much for the time, your education that you've shared with Holly, myself, and all of our listeners. We thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.